They said no one could cross the void. They said no civilization could span galaxies. No people could build where gravity itself fought against stone, steel, and dreams. But humans have always been bridge builders. Across rivers, across skies, across impossible divides, we do not stop at limits. And when the galaxy told us, "You cannot," we answered as we always have, "Watch us." Before we begin this story of ambition, courage, and the bridges that reshaped galaxies, I want to ask you something. Tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this video? If you enjoy these human-first stories of courage and defiance, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon. It helps more people discover our tales of humanity among the stars. Now, let's begin. Humanity has always been obsessed with crossing the uncrossable. Long before our kind looked up at the stars, we looked at rivers too wide to swim, canyons too deep to climb, oceans that stretched farther than any horizon. And every time, instead of stopping, instead of giving up, we built. Rope bridges of woven vine, wooden arches across roaring waters, iron and steel spans across cities that seemed to float in air. We learned early that a bridge is not just a structure, it is a declaration. It says, "The distance will not stop us. The void will not separate us. We will find a way across." The galaxy learned this truth the hard way. When humanity joined the galactic concord, the other civilizations laughed at our early ships. To them, we were still crude, fragile, a young species playing with fire. They told us the natural barriers of the universe, black holes, gravity wells, unstable stars, nebula storms, were eternal divides. No one could build across them. But we remembered every voice in history that told us rivers were uncrossable, oceans unconquerable, and skies unreachable. And so, we built again. The first of our impossible bridges began at the mouth of a collapsed star system, a binary black hole, orbiting in a slow, eternal spiral. The galaxy considered it cursed space. No trade route, no settlement, no exploration could pass. To try was to lose fleets into its gnashing gravity wells. For millennia, empires simply skirted around it, adding centuries to voyages. But humans arrived, studied, and dared. We anchored vast pylons on the edges of gravity's maw, sinking stabilizers deeper than anyone thought possible. We tethered energy fields, gravity counterweights, and matter repulsors in arcs of light. The structure began as madness, yet slowly it grew. A ribbon of stability stretched across the most unstable void known. The galaxy called it suicide. But when it was complete, ships moved safely across what had once been the maw of death. The human bridge shimmered like a silver thread through darkness, humming with impossible energy. Trade routes shortened by decades. Entire star systems, once cut off, now lived in the pulse of commerce again. It was only the beginning. Word spread. The young human species had built the first bridge across a black hole, and suddenly, empires began to watch us differently. But we were not done. The second bridge spanned between two drifting world shards. A cataclysm had shattered a superplanet into fragments, its pieces orbiting one another in deadly grinding chaos. No ship dared to pass through the debris clouds. The shards tore apart anything that tried. But on those fractured worlds lived ancient ruins, technology forgotten, knowledge that had been locked away for millennia. We wanted to reach them. So we mapped the fragments, calculated the rhythm of their deadly ballet, and did the unthinkable, built a chain of bridges between moving worlds. Each bridge was alive, shifting in constant motion, adjusting for the chaos of planetary drift. Where others saw only destruction, we laid foundations. When we walked across those impossible spans, it was humanity's way of telling the galaxy, not even a shattered world can deny us passage. And soon, the galaxy stopped laughing. The Council of Veyran invited human architects to attempt something never before considered: a bridge across the void between galaxies themselves. The gap between the Milky Way and Andromeda had always been too vast for steady trade, too dangerous for consistent travel. Wormholes collapsed, jump drives failed, and entire fleets were lost in the attempt. But the Council asked us anyway, and humans, as always, answered. It took centuries. The bridge was not a structure of stone or steel, but of stabilized wormhole chains, anchored with colossal pylons the size of moons, built by generations who would never live to see its completion. They called it folly. They called it endless. But humans called it destiny. And when the bridge lit for the first time, a steady, shining corridor between galaxies, trade ships passed through without fear. Families migrated across what had once been eternal darkness. Cultures divided by unthinkable distance could now speak, share, and live together. It was then the galaxy began calling us something new. Not humans, not Earthborn, not Terrans, but the architects. Because we did what no other species dared. We built connections where none were thought possible. We built bridges not just of steel, but of trust. Across empires once divided by suspicion. Across species who never believed they could stand side by side. Across divides deeper than rivers, longer than oceans, wider than galaxies. Where others drew lines, we built paths. Where others raised walls, we raised spans. Where others said, "It cannot be done," we built anyway. And the galaxy realized something they had always overlooked. Humans were never the strongest, never the fastest, never the oldest. But we were the ones who refused to accept separation. We could not stop building connections, because in our hearts, every bridge was more than a path across the void. It was a promise that no distance, no darkness, no division is beyond us. And so, when the final age of the Concord dawned, when war threatened to tear apart the fragile peace of the stars, it was humanity who stepped forward once more. Not with weapons, but with designs. Not with fleets, but with spans of light. They wanted us to choose sides. Instead, we built a bridge between enemies. And where fleets had once gathered for war, they crossed to meet, to speak, and to find peace. That was the last, the greatest of our bridges, not of stone, not of steel, not even of wormholes or light, but of understanding. And as long as humans endure, there will be no void uncrossed, no distance too far, no galaxy too dark. Because we are, and always will be, the architects of impossible bridges. If you enjoyed this story, let me ask you, if this tale of humanity's unstoppable will inspired you, please like the video, subscribe, and share it, because every click, every comment, every share builds another bridge that connects us together. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and never let the void tell you it cannot be crossed.